Not audible, sir.
Now you are audible. Hello.
Now audible.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So seizure is a transient occurrence of signs and symptoms due to abnormal, excessive, hypersynchronous neuronal activity in the brain. Okay. It is abnormal. Obviously, it is not abnormal. It is excessive and it is hypersynchronous neuronal activity in the brain. Okay, so 5 to 10% will have at least one seizure. This number is very important. Repeatedly keep on there asking. The thing is, you people will get confused when they give options. So 5 to 10, 15 to 20, 20 to 0 to 5, 5 to 10, like that they will give. So when they give like that, uh, you will get confused and you will not be able to answer. Okay, so o- this is the seizure. Okay, what do you mean by epilepsy? So epilepsy is if there is any recurrence of seizures because of unknown cause or known cause, whatever it is, and that cause is not treatable, then only it is called as epilepsy. It is just one episode of seizure unless and until there is some tumor or it is an epileptic syndrome. It is not called as epilepsy. It is just called as acute symptomatic seizures. That's all.
So
Okay.
does it depend on EEG findings? So
No, 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 no. See, EG, you don't worry because if presumably now 32 students are here, including me 33, 34. So if we do for all of us, there will be some spike and wave discharges. It will be there. Okay. See, it is a neurons. How many neurons are there? It is a MCQ question. I will not ask questions. I will only tell the answer. It is 10 to the power of 11 neurons. Okay, that means 100 billion. This will be asked. People, you can note down. 10 to the power of 11 neurons are there. Okay, so that is 100 billion neurons are there. So definitely some there will be abnormal activity. Sometime there will be excessive activity for all of us, but most of the time it will not be synchronous neuronal activity. That is the reason why most of the normal people will not have seizures. When all the three goes together, then only there will be seizures. So EEG and related to that is a clinical only. Okay, so EEG will not come into picture here. So this seizure incidence will be 5 to 10%, at least one seizure. Incidence of epilepsy is 0.3 to 0.5%, repeatedly asked. What they will ask is 0.1 to 0.3, zero point 0.3 to zero point 0.5, zero point 0.5 to zero point 0.1, like that they will ask. So you have to remember this 0.3 to zero point 0.5. And prevalence, that is 5 to 30% per thousand. Okay, these three has to be remembered, and repeatedly they will be asking for NEET SS. So coming to the definition, what is the definition of epilepsy? This is not seizure I am talking about. This is epilepsy. Okay. So this epilepsy is defined by at least two or more unprovoked seizures occurring more than 24 hours apart. Okay. So if within 24 hours, if there is two episodes of seizures, it is considered as only one seizure. Understood? So this is a two or more unprovoked seizures occurring more than 24 hours apart. This is the definition of epilepsy, because this they will give in clinical scenarios. A patient presented with two episodes of seizures within 24 on the same day, and he was diagnosed something something. Whether does it fit into the definition of epilepsy? So it is not. Okay, so it is more than 24 hours. And sometimes with one also we can diagnose epilepsy. How? If the general recurrence risk is at least 60% after two, that is same as the recurrence risk of after two episodes. What is the recurrence risk? If the recurrence risk is same even after the first episode of seizure, then it is called as you can call it as epilepsy. See, this is a very ambiguous, and many of the neurologists does not like this definition, because what is the general recurrence risk, how do we calculate? So it is all theoretical. So that is the reason why, means even if one seizure is there and there is some tumor or something like that, then we can take it as high chance of, or some there is some gliosis in the brain. So then we can call it as epilepsy. So third one will be diagnosis of an epilepsy syndrome. Okay, then all these three will come into the definition of epilepsy. So, what is this diagnostic scheme? This was not recently done. It was old Axis diagnosis scheme. In seizure also it was there, and many other diseases you will be knowing, especially used in psychiatry. Okay, so this they will keep on asking because the Axis 4 here is the etiology. Okay, many of times you might realize that Axis 3 will be usually etiology, but here Axis 4 is the etiology. The axis 1 is ictal phenomenology, axis 2 is seizure type, axis 3 is syndrome, axis 4 is etiology, axis 5 is impairment. So it is an old classification, but in I have myself got this question. That is the reason I have put axis 4 is the etiology. Usually what we will do, axis 3 we will put as etiology, but here because there is one ictal phenomenology, the seizure type and syndrome, then etiology has moved downwards. So basically, seizure was divided into focal and seizures. See, one thing important as a physicians, you people are maybe final year or you have finished your MD preparing. Obviously, we will be preparing for super specialty, may not be neurology or something else, but you will encounter seizure as a doctor in any of the specialties. Okay, so you have to be very clear about these concepts. So there are two types, only focal and generalized. Okay, focal means what? It is within the network limited to one part of the brain. Generalized means what? See, generalized, the previous definition was bilateral hemisphere onset. That is not true, na. Two, three times bilaterally, it cannot onset. It cannot have any onset. So the thing is here, it will have onset one side and rapidly engage the networks distributed across both the hemispheres. That is called as generalized. This definition will be repeatedly asked because to confuse you. So what they will ask is uh, so and so seizure onset at one particular part of the brain and rapidly engaged across the cerebral hemispheres, and it is asked also, and few of you might recall this question. It is not focal. Just because it is in one part of the brain, it is not focal. When you see rapidly engaging the other networks, okay, the generalized seizure does not mean entire hemisphere should be involved. Part of the bilateral brain should be involved. Okay, this is a very important uh, uh, differentiating between the focal and generalized seizures. Okay, so focal seizures do usually have a focal abnormality, so structural abnormality. And if there is a structural abnormality, most commonly it is a drug resistant. So if it is drug resistant, surgical treatment is an option. So just one concept, if you know, you can guess multiple questions. Focal seizures will have structural abnormality. So when they give questions, you have to analyze. See, everybody will read every books. So every person will read Harrison, but not every person will get ranks or good rank or whatever. Why? Because you have to, it is like a working memory. Okay, you have some knowledge, you have to manipulate that knowledge to solve the given question. No person in this world can read every book top to bottom, line to line, and remember everything. Okay, so you have to manipulate the knowledge you have. Those individual only will get ranks. uh, just remember this. When you get a question, while solving it, you just recall what all you know about that question. So you will get some link, then you rule out options, then you try to guess the best option. So as you progress, you will get good at this, and finally, even if you don't read most of the questions, you will be able to crack. So focal seizures, you have to read like this only. So structural. Oh, so structural means drug may not means drug resistance may be more. So that means surgical options should be considered early. So in contrast, generalized seizures is due to cellular, biochemical, structural, bar metabolic. See, generalized seizure means what? Uh, the diffuse cerebral involvement is there. Either if there is anything diffuse or symmetrical, you remember in brain, It is usually something is more or something is less. That means something problem in the blood, so that the blood is not bringing something which is very much required, that is like oxygen, that is hypoxia, hypoglycemia, or it is giving something which is toxic. Okay. Some toxin mediated carbon monoxide, like that. Anything symmetrical in brain, anything it is diffuse, usually think of metabolic, that is blood related, because blood is the only one which is common to every part of the brain, na? So that's why. So seizure also like that. Any seizure first comes, think of a generalized, that is biochemical, structural causes, biochemical metabolic causes, later structural. Okay. So what is this classification? So classification of seizures. So what you people make mistake here is, this is not a classification of epilepsy. So this is a classification of seizures. Okay. So this is the classification of seizures. So focal onset, generalized onset. Okay. In focal onset, it can be motor or non-motor. In generalized onset, also motor or non-motor. Unknown onset. Okay. This is the seizures. So epilepsy means it will be different. Okay. Epilepsy means it is a focal epilepsy, generalized epilepsy, unknown epilepsy, or it will be epileptic syndrome. And structural causes will be like, etiology will be metabolic, genetic, idiopathic, cryptogenic, and like that. Okay. So these are the definitions. So it is a seizure classification, it is not epilepsy classification. Many a times you will get mistaken with this classification. So this one more important thing is, it is the onset. You can see here, focal onset, generalized onset. You just have to worry about how the seizure was started. It is not how it ended. Most of the seizures might end in a generalized way. Okay, so does not mean the onset was generalized. Understood? This is a very important concept. Usually, most of the seizures end in a generalization, but however, onset may not be generalization. So if you know this concept, then next time you will remember and try to ask the patients. So what is this focal onset? Previously, simple partial seizures, complex partial seizures was there. Now that and all is removed, and now it is only focal onset with intact awareness and without intact awareness. So what is this awareness? Why not unconsciousness? So it is awareness, because the words was has been carefully chosen here. Okay, focal seizures with intact awareness means they're aware of what is happening to them. That is all it is. They're aware of what is happening. So if it is motor, they will tell. So there is a shaking of hand. Later it will progress or it will non-progress depending on what happens to them. They will tell. And if it is sensory seizures, they will tell it is sensory. If it is autonomic, they will tell one side of the arm will have piloerection. Something like that will be there. But awareness is not impaired. Remember. Okay. So they can have multiple uh, onset uh, in this focal seizures with intact awareness. So what is this focal motor seizures? They will only tell that it will start at one region and gradually progress. That is called as Jacksonian march. So second thing will be thought palsy will be there after the seizures. Third thing will be epilepsia partialis continua. These three are very important pointing towards focal motor seizures. Okay, so focal motor seizures are there, and these 3 points will help you. If there is a Todd palsy, you know it is focal motor. If there is a history of Jacksonian march, that is, it will start in the distally and gradually progress proximally. And if there is any history of epilepsia partialis continua, lasting for hours to days. So these are all characteristic of a focal motor seizures. Okay, so coming to focal seizures without impairment. So what is this focal seizure without impairment? With impairment of awareness. So that is same thing called as CPS. what we call as CPS. So CPS will have usually aura. Aura will be there. So can anybody tell what is aura? Anyone? Just guess. It is not a uh, test or anything. Just tell me what is aura.
Aura is a sensation uh, inside the patient's brain before a seizure or an epilepsy occurs.
Okay, good, good. Yeah. See, what she told is exactly correct, but I would like to modify a little bit. See, these are all small, small concepts which we nobody has taught us, and the it is not wrong thing, but it is not a right thing also. So we have been carried forward this same tradition for generations and generations without correcting ourselves. Okay, so this aura, once you know, na, you will get nostalgic. Once I tell you this, you know, everybody knows what is it. Okay, it is a simple partial seizures. Understood? So it is aura is just a simple partial seizures. That is focal seizures without loss of awareness. Got it? Any doubt here?
No, sir.
Yeah. So aura is just a simple focal seizures without loss of awareness because patient is telling na. So when this
Sir,
focal, yeah, tell me.
sir, sir, in migraine there is also aura, but there is no
Yeah, yeah. See, migraine aura is different, seizure aura is different. Okay, migraine, I will talk to you maybe like in a migraine class. Migraine aura is a different entity, and seizure aura is a different entity. Seizure aura, what we are talking here is aura is just a, it is some Greek or Latin word which is a, which they want to tell before the onset. That's all. Okay, it does not
Aura is a
have any,
premonition symptom.
yeah, 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 correct.
So aura is a premonition symptom.
Yeah, that is for this one. Okay, that is for a headache. What you are telling.
For
Seizures.
migraines.
Yeah, yeah, migraine, migraine. That is the same thing. For seizures, it is a simple partial. You just think about it. You forget the books. What is aura in seizures? I'm just telling. Okay, this is a seizure epilepsy class, so I am sticking to only epilepsy. You just think what is aura. It is a simple focal seizures without loss of awareness. Okay, then it progresses to focal seizures with loss of awareness. Understood? Any difficulty? This is a, this may not help you maybe in exam or not, but this is a very important concept. This you have to pass it on to your juniors. Okay, so everybody knows this, but nobody has thought about all these things, and none of the books give also. Everybody would have read the books na. Does anybody any of the books write like this? No, but they feel that we already know. That is the reason why they will not write. Okay, but they don't know our this thing na? So it is just a simple focal seizures without loss of awareness. This is a aura, what which we tell in seizures. Okay, so then when it progress, see, patient has a aura. That means what? They know that seizures will come. Okay, so next, that is what the clinically seizure we have na. That will be that focal seizures with impairment of awareness. Okay, so that is also called as CPS. So CPS preceded by a simple partial seizures. If you want to, if you ask me to tell in a old terms. Okay, so it is a simple partial seizures preceded by preceding these complex partial seizures. So it is a important concept. Here I have put it here, and so aura can be different things depending on the what and where the seizure is originating. Okay, so it can have many because simple seizures, na, it is. So can anybody tell that if patient is just having aura, do you want to treat or not? Just guess. No need to worry.
No, sir. Wait and
No,
watch.
no,
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 no.
no. See, that's why na, I
Yes,
told na it is a simple partial seizures na.
we will
Aura.
treat it.
Yeah, you have to treat it. Understood? See here, concepts is clear, na? Aura is a simple partial seizures, that is focal seizures without loss of awareness. Understood? It is a focal seizure. You have to treat it. Understood? Hello, everybody. Any problem here? I can explain it to you again. Kindly speak up. Don't worry, nobody will judge you, nobody will tell that you don't know, because most of us cannot know everything. Even I will not be knowing so many things. So don't hesitate. If you have any doubt, you ask. We are all here to help you. Okay?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, definitely it will be followed by complex partial seizures, right, sir?
Not
All
not
aura
not
in-
always, not always.
Usually.
Yeah, usually means most of the time it will follow, but many a times it may not follow also. You might be knowing na, sometimes patient will only come and tell that they are having that feeling of seizures, but they'll not get seizures. Understood na?
Okay, sir.
Yeah, see, there is a
Sir, migraine aura is same or different
no,
from
it is
seizure
different.
aura?
Migraine is a different pathology. You don't worry about migraine now. Okay, migraine aura is different. Aura will be the same name. See, if just because two students have same name does not mean they are same, na. You don't worry about migraine aura. That is a different mechanism that I'll speak some other day. But this is a seizure aura. Okay, seizure aura. They've given it a name. That's the reason why I wanted to take this epilepsy class before all this entrance exams, because few of the concepts has to be explained properly for a no, for exam and for general practice also. Aura here is not, it is just a simple partial seizures. See, patient is having some 3 4 AEDs. Okay, otherwise there is no other problem, still they are having aura, then you don't have to treat because it is not disabling them. Understood? So, but by chance, if there are only one AEDs and they are, uh, so still having aura, definitely have to hike up the AEDs. So usually what happens is in MTS when we do the surgery, na, so they will come with aura. Engel classification is there post surgery. So type 1A, 1B, 1C, 2, 3, like that it is there. Many classifications are there. So in that type 1B is seizures are not there, but 1B is only auras are present. In there also, na, so we have to treat unless and until it is a clinician judgment. But the dictum says you have to treat unless and until it is not disabling. It will not be disabling, obviously, unless and until you're already on 4 5 drugs. You have to add a new drug, like that. If it is there, then you may not wish to treat. But if it is some carbamazepine, your patient is on 200 mg or something, then definitely you have to hike up and treat. Okay, so it is a very very common topic, but most of us means unless and until somebody tells you, all these things will not be known. How many of you knew this before? I don't think so. Anybody of you knew? Maybe one or two. I don't know. I'm just telling you. Okay, this kindly understand this. It is aura is just aura in seizures. Don't get confused with headache. Aura in seizures. It is just a simple partial seizures without loss of awareness. Okay, concept is understood, I think. So then it will progress to impaired awareness. Then patient will not know what is happening. Till then awareness is there. That is the reason why patient will complain. That is why they tell it is a subjective feeling. It is the patient will complain, like that, because awareness is there. Now if you don't have awareness, you will not be able to complain about it. Okay, that is the reason. Okay, fine. See, this CPS, now it is very important. Why I tell you is, uh, it is, I like personally old classification. I love old classification. The newer classification I don't like it that much. I'll tell you later once I go for generalized seizures. So in old classification, it is something called as localization related epilepsy. I think few of you might have heard some of your consultant writing something like that, LRE, localization related epilepsy. So the CPS was divided into lobes. Okay, so temporal lobe, parietal lobe, occipital lobe, frontal lobe, like that. So in temporal lobe, they divided into medial and lateral. Okay, in occipital lobe, nothing, no major divisions. Parietal lobe also no major divisions. So I think it is clear now. Parietal lobe, occipital lobe, no divisions. Temporal lobe, medial and lateral temporal lobe, and frontal lobe was divided into 7. That is motor cortex, supplementary motor cortex, dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, frontal eye fields, orbitofrontal cortex, frontal polar, and medial frontal. Okay, these are the 7 areas they divide. Don't write, don't worry, it is not important to you. I'm just explaining to you that you should know some these divisions were there, that's all. Okay, so just a second. Yeah, so then what happened, when they divided into this medial and lateral temporal. So medial and lateral, see how you divide the medial and lateral temporal is medial is MTS. Okay, lateral was something other things. Okay, neotemporal, that is cortical involvement will be there. Some FCD or something like that. Okay, so medial temporal will be usually how to differentiate between the two. Usually temporal is a hypomotor state, frontal is a hyperkinetic state. Understood? Temporal is a hypomotor state, frontal is a hyperkinetic state, that is hypermotor state. So temporal, medial and lateral, they divided. How they divided? So medial will have usually aura, that is epigastric sensation, some fear, some olfactory, gustatory, something like that. Some type of aura will be there, panic, fearfulness, something like that. Then what happens, usually it will last 30 seconds to 3 minutes. They will have automatisms, and very rarely there will be generalizations. Lateral temporal will have aura in the form complex visual hallucinations, giddiness, like that will be there. It is for shorter duration, and automatisms are less, and generalization is more. Okay, if patient comes and tells you aura was there but they will have the big seizures, then you should be thinking it is uh, what lateral temporal.
Lateral temporal lobe.
Yeah, very good. So then what happened? Usually they initially divided into temporal and extratemporal, because CPS 80% is temporal. So you would have written like LREET sometimes. What is that? Localization related epilepsy extratemporal. If it is TLE, they will write LRETLE. That is localization related epilepsy, temporal lobe epilepsy. Okay, in that medial or lateral, depending on whatever it is. In extratemporal, they divide into frontal and occipital and parietal. So in parietal, what usually they'll have sensory. So sensory will be like tingling, paresthesias. Gradually it progressed, and then in supplementary sensory there will not be any progression, entire body will be involved. Okay, in the primary sensory area only that progression will be there, like Jacksonian march. Then parietal will be having some problem with their hand. One patient was there, he tells that he feels he does not have an arm during that episode, and it is floating somewhere, something like that, some agnosia, something, some visuospatial problem will be there in parietal, if not sensory seizures. Occipital, they will have opposite eye, there is some visual blurring will be there, and it will then the seizure might progress to parietal, temporal, sensory, whatever, wherever it goes, the symptoms will be there. So frontal will have eye version, deviation will be there, because dorsolateral prefrontal cortex will be involved. Motor can be there. Supplementary motor will not have Jacksonian march. Remember, both supplementary motor and supplementary sensory will have diffuse involvement, not Jacksonian march like thing will not be there. Okay, and orbitofrontal will have gustatory hallucination, and medial frontal will have axial uh, uh, turning. Axial turning will be when they are sleeping, na, they will be turning around the axis. So it is a gyration, it is called as. If patient is telling they are turning, then it is a parietal lobe. But if you see patient is turning, then it is frontal lobe. Okay, see, these are all very in depth. It may not be important for you, but you just have to know that these things are there. That's all. So then these were the CPS, that is focal seizure with loss of awareness. So then
Please tell once.
hello.
So please tell once difference between medial and lateral temporal lobes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Epilepsy.
Yeah. See, temporal lobe, you just remember it is hypomotor state. That means they'll simply stand like absent seizures. They will have automatisms. Perioral automatism will be there. Bimanual automatism will be there. Usually, the automatism will be in the one limb only. So, which is that limb? That limb will be on the ipsilateral side of the seizures, because the opposite hand there will be dystonia. Means the tonic posturing will be there. Okay, so then they will have aura, that is simple focal seizures without loss of awareness in the form epigastric sensation, rising sensation, hunger, some gustatory, some olfactory, like that. They will have some aura, some type of aura will be there, followed by seizures which last for long, that is 30 minutes to 30 seconds to 3 minutes it will last. Automatism will be there, perioral and bimanual automatism will be there. Generalization will not be there. They will only tell, sir, these are all small seizures, it will last for 5 to 10 seconds, that's all. Okay, like that. So lateral temporal will have giddiness. Okay, some visual complex visual hallucination can be there, and followed by hypomotor state. Automatism will be less, not so much pronounced, and then they will have generalization. More common generalization will be there in lateral temporal. Okay,
So aura
so
will be common in which one, sir?
Yes, sir.
yeah, what?
Aura will be more common in which one, sir? Medial, sir?
Medial only, na? Medial
Ah,
only.
okay.
Yeah. So the main aura was described in medial only. Okay, so aura is common in medial. Okay, so then uh, so coming to focal seizures over focal seizures with loss of awareness, without loss of awareness, both we have covered. So these are all small important concepts, but you have to know it. Okay, so automatisms I've already told. See, if people are interested, there are even more depth to this. That is, there is something called as manipulative automatism and non-manipulative automatism. So in non-manipulative automatism, some clonic type movements will be there. That is a contralateral to the seizure focus. So manipulative automatism will be ipsilateral to the seizure focus. Okay, in manipulative also, na, there will be like elementary. Okay, they will use the whatever they have picking movements like that and all is there. So second thing will be there is something called as localization and lateralization of seizure focus. So lateralization means which hemisphere, localization means where. That is the reason why they have given all this medial and lateral temporal, parietal, occipital, frontal divided into 7 parts. So that is what I talked about localization. Lateralization means what? Lateralization means which side, right side or left side. See, usually the dominant side, that is for most of us, even if you are left handed, it is left hemisphere. Okay, so if it is left hemisphere, they will have some postictal aphasia will be there. When you ask them, patient will not talk for few minutes, like 1 minute. So right temporal people will talk immediately. You have to ask this, they will not tell. So the postictal confusion is not the same thing as postictal aphasia. So when you ask the patient, so they will tell, sir, I will be able to know what others are asking, but I will not be able to talk. So that is a postictal aphasia. So that is localized to dominant temporal lobe. Okay, so this is called as lateralization. Okay, so lateralization, what else other things you will know? That is figure of 4. So figure of 4 means when a patient, if any patient, if anybody has read Bradley or anywhere, so there is a picture called as figure of 4. So that is like focal to generalized. Okay, figure of posture is seen in focal to generalized. Fencing posture is seen in frontal lobe
Sir, please
seizures.
explain this again, sir. Figure of
Fi-
4.
Yeah, figure of four. So one figure of four, na. So one arm is extended, one upper limb. The other upper limb is flexed. Okay, so it will come as a four. Okay, so the Caesar focus is usually opposite to the extended arm. So if left hand is extended, that is left upper limb is extended, the Caesar focus is on the right side. Okay, so some of the patients seizures now you might think you might they might be showing that no, one limb will be flexed, one will be extended. That is a figure of four. So usually the extended limb opposite side. Okay, so will be the Caesar focus. So that is called as lateralization. Okay, which side? So dystonic posturing is on which side? That is the lateralization, opposite side. So manipulative automatism will be on the ipsilateral side. So sometimes what we called as ictal nose swiping, ictal nose picking. Okay, that is a ipsilateral only. So simply there will be no swiping like this. No swiping will be there. So that is a ictal nose swiping is manipulative. Means it is on the ipsilateral side only. So this may not be that much important to you. Just you know that these things are there. That's all.
Sir, ictal nose wiping is for which region, sir? Localized to area. Which type of seizures?
It is all CPS only, na.
I mean, localization of lobes, sir. Frontal, parietal, temporal.
No, no, that is not there. So that's what I'm trying to tell. So sometimes, na, see, usually they will tell, see, insula is there, na. Insula will have this autonomic seizures and this swallowing. Okay, they tell this insular area will have lot of this gustatory like that. So ictal nose swiping also they tell sometimes from temporal, na, it will go to that insular area. So that is the area where they tell, but nobody knows where it will come because it is very difficult to ascertain. Na? So once the seizure, that's why onset is very important. Otherwise, in that insular area only, all this will be happening. Okay, the dystonic posturing is also because of the involvement of the basal ganglia from the medial temporal. So ictal nose swiping will be there. Usually, it is on the in that insular area only. That swallowing will be insular area, and facial clonic movements will be in the opercular area. Okay, opercular seizures we will call them. Salivation, hypersalivation, facial clonic movements is an opercular area. Okay, so then coming to generalized seizures. I
What is
think
the
any
fencing posture? You were telling about some fencing
yeah,
posture.
fencing posture is in frontal lobe. That's all. So one arm will be flexed, one arm will be extended in the front and back. Okay, fencing, you know, na, that there is a game, na, means not a game. It is a sport. The fencing, the one upper limb, the shoulder, one shoulder will be flexed and one shoulder will be extended. Okay, so
Sir, in
don't worry.
front,
Yeah, tell me.
in
Frontal
front,
is fencing.
yes, sir. In frontal, there is also a mirror to eye sign, sir. That is regarding what, sir?
What?
Mirror to eye sign, sir, in frontal lobe epilepsy.
That MIE.
Ah, yes. It was given
Yeah,
in. Ah,
yeah, that only. So this eye deviation will be there. Na, I told na this dorsolateral prefrontal cortex will be there. Na, hello.
that
Yeah.
is controversial eye deviation in frontal. That is the same as mirror to eye sign, sir.
I as far as I know, that is the only thing. If anything, if you can message me, I
Yes, sir.
can check and tell you. You feel it
Yeah.
is something different?
Yes, sir. I thought it was something different, sir. Mirror to eye sign was given in one of the exams, sir, but I didn't find it in internet, so that's why I'm asking you, sir.
Okay, so Ivan, then if internet it is not there, I don't know where it will be.
I'll
Fine. Anyway, at least in Bradley it is not given. I can be very sure of it.
okay, sir.
So see, I got. I am doing epilepsy PDF also in Imhans. So anyway, I will check in other books also, but it may not be. mm Means it may be there, maybe some other old name, and now the name may be changed. That's what I'm thinking. Anyway, I will check and let you people know.
Okay,
What
sir.
as far as I know is that only dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. Na, the eye deviation will be to the opposite side. Okay, the Caesar focus will be there. Na, it will be to the opposite side. Okay, so any doubts here regarding aura or anything else? Can we move on?
Jacksonian march, Todd's palsy and epilepsy partialis continua.
Yeah.
All that is related to focal seizure with intact awareness.
Yeah. No, yeah, intact awareness initially, but they can go into without with loss of awareness can happen later also.
Okay.
It is a sign of focal epilepsy, I'm telling. See, you are
That's
in
it.
casualty, okay? Patient presents with seizures. They will usually have generalization, na? But when you see that light upper limb weakness will be there, you will tell, na, it can be postictal. Understood, na?
Yes, yes.
So that is a postictal Todd palsy. That means it is started in that. So you should think, oh, okay, there is a Todd palsy means it is a focal seizures getting into generalization. Like that, you should think. That's why I told it is very important.
Okay.
Okay, so the Jacksonian march can be for motor or sensory both, but in supplementary area there won't be any march. Only in the primary sensory and motor area there will be Jacksonian march. Okay, okay, fine. So we will move on to generalized epilepsy.
Yes.
Okay. So see, generalized epilepsy, as I told, I don't agree with the current classification. See, I may be very small person currently, but still, we all will be practicing, na? So we can have our own opinion. So what this classification people who have made, na, this big people, so they made it through. They have seen their video EEG when the patient was will be admitted. They will undergo video EEG. So that time they have seen and they have done this classification. But for us, when the patient is presenting, they will not tell na this which side it has started, which side it is started. Have anybody of you have got any history like that? It will start right side, it will start left side. Very difficult. The intelligent people will tell. Means if someone is telling like that, you should think that then the repeatedly seizure is happening in the same side. That is the reason why they will have reinforcement every time seizure is happening, and they will correctly tell, okay, right side or left side. Otherwise, most of the Indian population, at least as far as my experience concerned, they will not tell anything. Seizure means tonic clonic only. Okay, so but that is not correct na. Many of them will have generalization. That is why onset is very important. So, why it is very important? How to differentiate between focal and generalization is very important, because the treatment will be, because focal is a structural cause, and it is resistant to drugs, and it is a surgical treatment options are there. That is why it is very important to uh, what to differentiate. See, and one more thing, what I found is in our Indian population or any population, so time is very relative. So you will ask, definitely, many of you would have had seizure in casualty postings, patient with seizure. What you will ask, how much time it was there? They will tell 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, like that. But if you previously even I didn't know, but if patient had seizures for 10 minutes, patient will not survive. That to GTCS. Okay, so GTCS will last only for 30 to 40 seconds. That's all, or maximum 1 minute. Okay, when in casualty also, na, you will be seeing. So it will reduce on its own. So because the time is a very relative concept, na. So when so much of problem is happening to a loved one, so you will not be thinking and seeing time, how much time it will come, stop clock, timer, and all. You will not be able to do. So that's why there is no pointer in asking how much time it will be there or anything, something like that. It is just because it won't make any difference for you. Maybe your seniors might ask you to tell right. That is okay. As a conceptual level, there is no use in asking timings, because they will not tell right. Okay, they will, anybody have they have told 30 seconds, 10 seconds. Only for CPS, very intelligent patients will tell, sir, just 10 seconds, sir. Like that they will tell. Otherwise, for all generalized seizure, they will tell, sir, 1 15 minutes, sir. Sir, 1 20 minutes it will be there, sir. Like that they will tell. Okay, then it is a status epilepticus, na, after 5 minutes. So that's why the timing does not make any difference. So no point in asking at all. So second thing will be how to differentiate. Can anybody tell what are the question you people ask in casualty to differentiate, or whether you have tried to differentiate in casualty like focal or generalized, or whether you people were okay with okay for everything, including me. I also used to do the same thing. That's why I'm asking. GTCS everywhere, patient presented with GTCS like that. So see, it is these few questions I have developed myself. It is not given in any books, so don't ask me for reference. It is not an validated or anything. So I myself, because I had all these questions and doubts, I came up with my own 3 4 questions to differentiating. It is, I repeat again, it is not given in any book. There is no reference for this. It is just my own things. So if someone asks for reference, please tell I don't have. Okay, what are these questions? I will first ask patient whether patient will fall or not. Okay, see seizures they will know. They will only come and tell seizures is there, sir. Okay, second thing will be whether patient will fall or not. First thing you should ask. Why? Because see, unconsciousness. If you ask now, everybody will be unconscious in the end. They will. It won't matter much. So when you ask patient will fall first or not, then you will know. See these simple partial seizures and partial seizures without awareness and with awareness, na. So they will not usually fall. Okay. So and one more thing is there are some exceptions like atonic seizures and all that you leave. Okay. You just have to categorize first. So you ask them. So that means if they are not falling, that means the posture has been maintained. So that is the most important thing. So you will know, okay, so if posture is maintained, then it will be very important thing. So if they are falling or not, first question. If they have any aura or not, second question. This you have to ask to the patient also, and relatives. So how do you ask relatives? They will only they how you will ask relatives whether patient is having or not. Sometimes children will come and hug their parents, that they will have something like that, and some adults will go and just sleep in the bed so that they will have seizures. So that means they have some sense that something is happening. They may not be able to explain. So that is also an aura. So you should ask them any repetitive behavior before seizures. Okay, so third thing will be the third and most important question. So generalized seizures will be there now. So when the before the onset of seizures, how they will be. So usually what the answer, the primary generalized will be, it will be dramatic onset. So sir, they will only tell, sir, this fellow was aram se walking with me, sir. Suddenly he started shouting and had seizures. Okay, so that is usually the primary generalized. But the thing is the secondary generalization will be, they will only tell, sir, sometime he was not talking for some time, then he fell down, sir. After that he had some movement, then he had full movement, like that they will explain. So the thing is, because we have to make sure that we ask all these three questions, whether patient is falling or not, aura is there or not, and before GTCS what happened. Okay, these three questions if you have, and others are minor questions, whether tongue bite was there, whether incontinence was there. See, incontinence will be there after the seizures, when there is muscle relaxations. Okay, so it may not be helpful for categorization of seizures. So understood na, these three questions: patient will fall or not, and then patient has a aura or not. Then third will be how before the onset of GTCS, that is generalized tonic-clonic or the big seizures which they describe, how was he or she? If you ask na, if they, then you will come to know whether it is seizures or not. And third thing will be any facial involvement are there, any one side facial deviation or some facial clonic movements, or sometime any figure of four, some abnormal posturing of limbs. Okay, and those things if they tell, then you will know it is focal with generalization. Okay, any doubt in these three? This does not have reference, I am repeating, it is not having any reference, it is not given anywhere. So if you have any doubts, you can ask, or we will move on. Okay, any doubts?
No.
Okay, fine. So see, okay, once you categorize, so now coming to generalized epilepsies. So generalized epilepsy will be what? Absent seizures are the, like absent seizures, uh, GTCS type. Okay, So in absence seizures, it is divided into simple and complex absence seizures. So what is the differencing point between simple and absence seizures? So simple absence seizures will be uh, no motor involvement. Okay, complex absence seizures will be some motor involvement will be there, some clonic jerk, some hand movement, anything is there. It is complex absence seizure. It is not typical and atypical absence seizures. I'm telling you, repeating this repeatedly. Okay, simple and complex absence seizures is different from typical and atypical absence seizures. The main differentiating point between simple and complex absence seizures is the motor involved. The motor manifestations is not there in simple and it is there in complex. Now coming to most of the absence seizures will be complex absence seizures. They will have some tongue, some perioral movement, some hand movement, some fumbling, something will be there. Coming to typical and atypical absence seizures, the main differentiating point is the spike and wave pattern will be less than 2.5 hertz. Remember this, the main is less than 2.5 hertz spike and wave pattern, typical and atypical. Other non-important things will be on in typical absences, it will be abrupt onset and abrupt stopping of seizures. Motor manifestation will be very less, and then typical uh, 3 hertz spike and wave discharges will be there, and no, neurologically they'll be normal. MRI will be normal. Okay, in atypical absence, the main point is less than 2.5 hertz. They will be having more motor manifestation. They will be abrupt onset may not be there, and cognitive decline can be there, or some background MR can be there, or MRI abnormality can be there. So these are the differentiation between simple and complex absence seizures, typical and atypical complex seizures, absence seizures. Any difficulty here? Because definition has to be proper so that you will be able to tackle the questions. This absence seizures will be asked repeatedly. So any doubt, please ask me now only. Any doubt here? Simple and complex absence seizures, typical and atypical absence seizures. Okay, no
Sir,
problem.
in typical and atypical absence seizures, motor involvement is more common in which one, sir?
Atypical.
Oh, okay, sir.
Okay, more prominent. Okay, okay, fine. So I think you people have understood this. So the main type of absence seizures will be seen in children, that is 15 to 20% of the children with epilepsy will be there. Okay, hallmark is 3 hertz spike and wave discharges. This you already know. Hyperventilation will provoke this uh, 3 hertz spike and wave discharges. Okay, this atypical I've already explained. Okay, so what is this GTCS? This is like 10% of all the person with epilepsy. So usually it is generalized, na? It is usually genetic or metabolic problem like that will be there. So initially there will be tonic posturing. Initially there will be tonic posturing of all 4 limbs, then followed by clonic movements, and then tonic, clonic, tonic, clonic, and the duration also gradually increases, and there will be uh, resolution. So it will usually last 30 to 60 seconds only. It will never last more than 1 minute, because it is a time is very relative concept. That's why patients will tell 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes like that. Okay, so and then postictal unresponsiveness will be there, and postictal incontinence will be there, used because of the relaxation. And so EEG, what they ask here is EEG in tonic phase is generalized increase in low voltage fast activity, followed by generalized high amplitude polyspike discharges will be there. In clonic, high amplitude activity is typically interrupted by slow waves to create a spike and wave pattern. So in clonic, they will have some spike and wave pattern, and generalized fast activity will be there in the tonic. And postictal, there will be diffuse suppression of all cerebral activity, and the waves will be very dilate, means slowing will be there, background slowing. So atonic seizures is also uh, generalized seizure, also called as Douce syndrome. It is seen in Lennox-Gastaut syndrome also, lasting for 1 to 2 seconds. Here, patient will fall, but however, uh, head drops can be there, head nodding can be there. Okay, sometimes can be confused with myoclonus. Myoclonic jerks is more brief, that is less than 100 milliseconds, and negative myoclonus, that is asterexis, is 500 milliseconds, and atonic seizure is for 1 second. Kindly remember the numbers. Positive myoclonus is 100 milliseconds, negative myoclonus is 500 milliseconds, atonic seizures are 1 millisecond, 1 second. Okay, these are very quick. Usually they will have head drops. Okay, so diffuse slowing will be there. So it is contribute. It will correlate to atonic seizures. So myoclonic, I have already told, it will correlate to spike and wave discharges along with that. Usually seen in juvenile myoclonic epilepsy. So epileptic spasms. So there are so many types of spasm: typical, atypical, flexion, extension. Okay, so mainly what you want to know is, usually it was called as infantile spasms because it is seen in so many other children and adults also. So it is called as epileptic spasms, no, and they'll have hips arrhythmia. Okay, irregular, diffuse, giant slow waves with chaotic background. It is called as hips arrhythmia. The spasm will correlate to marked suppression of EEG, electrodecremental response. This is, they will ask repeatedly, electrodecremental response. So um, something called as IgE syndromes. I think you people might have heard about this. There are some 9 IgE syndromes, but ILEA classification will tell only 4 or 5. That is childhood absence epilepsy, juvenile absence epilepsy, juvenile myoclonic epilepsy, GTCS type only. Okay, these are the 4 very well recognized. What is all these things? Juvenile absence epilepsy, uh, childhood absence epilepsy, juvenile absence epilepsy, juvenile myoclonic epilepsy, and GTCS type only. Okay, this juvenile absence epilepsy will be same thing. It are all genetic epilepsies. Okay, so absence seizures will be there. So if they have myoclonic absences, they will tell it is not a childhood absence epilepsy. In childhood absence epilepsy, there should not be any myoclonic jerks. Understood? And they will have this hyperventilation induced. Then juvenile absence epilepsy can have myoclonus, but it should not be any pronounced. And age of onset will be different for childhood and juvenile onset. And JME, this is a most common epilepsy syndromes. That is the reason. And why? Because it is very important to uh, diagnose this. Patient will only tell when they don't sleep properly, they'll have this shaking, myoclonic jerks will be there. And when they don't sleep properly, they'll have GTCS, they will have absences, they can have. Okay, so juvenile myoclonic epilepsy is important because it is a lifelong treatment. At least after 5 years, you may consider tapering, but usually they will require lifelong treatment. And they have lot of uh, genetic uh, genetic genes are involved, polygenic. Okay, Lennox-Gastaut syndrome, that is LGS. It is a triad, multiple seizures, that is tonic, atonic, and atypical absence. Here it is an atypical absence. So they'll have tonic, atonic, and atypical absence. So EG will show generalized less than 3 Hz spike and wave discharges, and cognitive dysfunction will be there. So usually it is divided into symptomatic and like MRI positive, MRI negative, like that, but usually poor prognosis. So epilepsy syndrome is very important here because uh, for NEET SS they will ask this. Autosomal dominant nocturnal frontal lobe epilepsy. Okay, it is a childhood onset. Usually it is confused with a sleep disorder. CHRNE4, A4. See, other genes are there. In Bradley it is given, but you people may not require general. Okay, so A4, A4, A2, B4, like that. Many genes are there here, but you just remember Harrison only gives CHRNA4. That is autosomal dominant nocturnal frontal lobe epilepsy. It is a partial epilepsy. It is not a generalized epilepsy. Here they have given C. CHRN A2 and B2 is also there. So many genes are there, but A4 is most common. So KCNQ2 and KCNQ3 is also there for this benign familial neonatal seizures. Usually infants are normal at birth, day 3 seizures, and you within 6 months they'll become normal again. And epilepsy risk they will ask 10 to 15%. KCNQ2 and KCNQ3. SCN1A, that is generalized epilepsy with febrile seizure plus. It has so many genes actually, but here they've given SCN1A, 2A, 2B, and GABA receptor 2 also, and A1, G2, both will be involved. So usually these febrile seizures will be more than 6 years, and myoclonic means because it is a febrile seizure plus na, so they will have seizures, non-febrile and febrile seizures both will be there, but the onset will be prolonged for more than 6 years. So that is SCN1A. So LGI1 is also called as lateral temporal lobe epilepsy because it is autosomal dominant with auditory features, that is some tinnitus, something like that. It is also called as familial lateral lobe epilepsy. So it is LGI1. Okay. So then coming to autosomal dominant familial focal epilepsy with variable foci. It is not that important, not many questions from this. But however, you have to remember the gene DEPDC5. Cystatin B is progressive myoclonic epilepsy. Okay. Uh, that is a UL disease. It is autosomal recessive. So all the previous one are autosomal dominant. The progressive myoclonic epilepsies are autosomal recessive. Even the Lofera disease are autosomal recessive, and classic lissencephaly is X-linked dominant. So lissencephaly, you know, it is double cortin. The Lofarin is EPM2A, that is Lofera body disease, and Undrich disease will be cystatin B. So these you have to read in. These are all from Harrison only. So coming to this medial temporal, what they ask in this question is, see, how do you read tables? So what all people make mistake is you people start beheading everything. You should not do that. When you read the table, you know what all you can guess, what all you know. You just forget that, and you should remember whatever is you don't know. So like febrile, all here, the only question what they will ask is this hypometabolism in pet. Okay. So, and ipsilateral or bilateral anterior temporal spikes will be there. VADA test and small hippocampal with increased T2 weighted uh, sequences, enlarged temporal horn, small temporal lobe, highly selective loss in the cell loss in hippocampus. So, you have to remember whatever is possible only, everything cannot be remembered. So, coming to the causes of seizures. So, only one causes you should remember, that is top. In neonates, remember it is hypoxia. In infants and children, it is febrile seizures. Adolescents, it is trauma. Young adults, it is trauma. In older adults, it is CVA. Older adults means more than 35 years. So HIE, febrile seizures, trauma, and CVA. Okay. This only one you have to remember. If they ask in between what is the third most common, fourth most common, usually they will not ask, but you cannot be expected to remember also. So head trauma, what is the risk of epilepsy? That is 30 to 50% of developing epilepsy will be there in the head trauma. Okay. So that too more in penetrating trauma. Okay. So more in penetrating trauma. If they have any contusion, anything like that. Any patient with CVA will have 50% risk of developing epilepsy. 50% risk of epilepsy. So acute seizures in CVA will be seen during embolic stroke. Chronic seizures will be seen after some time when there is any gliosis after months. So what are this uh, mechanism of action of the mainly I'm speaking about drugs here. All these receptors are involved in generation and propagation of seizures also. That is the reason which why I have combined the both, so that you will be able to remember. So modulate, I will go from down to up. So levetiracetam and brivaracetam are only one. Okay, remember that is modulation of release of synaptic vesicles. Only one mechanism of action. Modulation of release of synaptic vesicles. So increased availability of GABA, that is valproic acid, gabapentin, and tiagabin, and the potentiation of GABA receptor is benzodiazepine and barbiturates. This you will know by benzodiazepine and barbiturates. The problem will be this increased availability of GABA. You will get confused. People will put benzodiazepine and this barbiturates. That is wrong. It is a receptor. This increased availability of GABA is by valproic acid, gabapentin, and tiagabin. And attenuation of that is glutamate is by lamotrigine, topiramate felbamate, and facilitation of opening of potassium is ezogabine, and inhibition of calcium channel, this you remember, uh, that is phenytoin, pregabalin, and gabapentin. Calcium channel is phenytoin, pregabalin, and gabapentin, and valproic acid also will come. Okay. And sodium channel, most of them will have sodium channel, that is phenytoin, carbamazepine, lamotrigine, topiramate, zonisamide, lacosamide, and rufinamide. So this repeatedly asked question, that is EEG, 60% of them will be normal first time when you do, even if with seizures. This they will in NEET and DNB they'll ask how many percentage is normal, 40, 50, 60, 70. Answer is 60. Remember 60. So SLC2A1 gene is GLUT1 transport, that is ketogenic diet you have to give. So these are all treatment responsive seizures. That is the reason why I have put in the same slide, and that is genetics in epilepsy. So SCL 2A1, that is GLUT1, and ALDH 7A1, that is antiquin, that is pyridoxine has to be given, and sodium, that is SCN1A, avoid phenytoin, lamotrigine, and many other sodium channel drugs. And the mutation is SCN2A and 8A, that is phenytoin in high doses will be helpful. So HLA B 1502, you know, it is carbamazepine, phenytoin, oxcarbazepine, and lamotrigine. All four drugs you cannot give. High risk of developing skin reactions. Okay, this European and Japanese may not require for us, and they will not ask also. So, what is the differential diagnosis of seizures? Uh, it is no, it is mainly TIA, sleep disorders in frontal lobe epilepsies. Usually, they will think as sleep because frontal lobe epilepsy usually they present in sleep. They get confused in sleep disorders. And if it is sometimes like 3 days back also in one patient, they had present, some of the residents had made diagnosis of acute dystonia. So then morning I came, when I saw that patient is having seizures actually. Okay, it is a focal motor, but sometimes the history and the language problems will be there. So usually it will be confused with movement disorder. So they were all asking, sir, it is a movement disorder, acute dystonia, like that. So then I asked, you asked for drug history, like that, nothing. Then I was thinking, is some 30-year-old, why he should get acute dystonia? So then I retook the history and I saw him, he is having seizures. Okay, so a CT was showing some lesion there. So that's why movement disorder usually we get confused. And sometimes migraine, and night terror, sleepwalking, syncope, orthostatic hypotension, psychogenic seizures, hyperventilation, panic attack. Okay, sometimes they will simply tell, I'm having some problem, I'm having something, I'm not feeling well, like that. So few people might think it may be aura. So but it will be usually panic attacks. Metabolic hyperglycemia, hypoxia, they might get confused. Okay, these are the differential diagnosis. So how to differentiate between these two? It is not that much important. Only thing is syncope, they'll have very pale looking. Okay. So syncope is very pale, and seizure eyes are usually open. These are the only two important things you have to remember. Seizures eyes will be open, and syncope usually they look very pale. So coming to the treatment. So what is this treatment? So this is a new Harrison tables. They have changed it compared to before. previously lamotrigine was not there in the first line. So now you can see that GTCS or a focal type lamotrigine is the first, and in typical and atypical absence, valproate is the first. Previously, ethosuximide was there for typical and atypical was valproate, but now both are valproate. So when they ask what is the treatment of choice, you have to put lamotrigine. That is the reason why they have asked also. You will be thinking, hey, this is so simple question, why they have asked. You don't know the answer, you will put the regular answer and come. Finally, you will realize that it is a wrong answer. Whatever practice you are doing, most of us will be doing the wrong things. That is the reason why, if you apply your practical knowledge, what you will do in wards and everyday life, you will get the wrong marks. And you will think, oh yeah, I got 80 I will get definitely 80-90 correct, but finally you will get 40-50 correct only. Then you will think some problem in the exam, I think, like that. That is not correct. So we should not use our practical things, because in India usually we will not follow any guidelines. It is all gut based. Okay, I just feel like this, I just feel like that, like that. Okay, so this is one important change: lamotrigine and valproic acid. So this table, I'm telling you people, it is a gold mine for MCQs. I will not be able to cover everything, I know. So whatever question I have found, I recently also wrote like 10 days, like 1 month back also entrance. So carbamazepine, valproic acid, phenytoin, these drug levels are very important. Okay, so drug levels of carbamazepine, phenytoin, and um valproic acid is very important. Then coming to side effects. See, side effects, this you have to read in detail, because if I start explaining everything, you people might get bored. uh, See here, the weight loss is only for few uh, AEDs. That is, topiramate will have weight loss. Okay, where is topiramate? And felbamate. See here, see, felbamate is weight loss, topiramate is weight loss. These two will have weight loss. So cardiac problem will have what? So cardiac problem, that is, rufinamide is QR interval shortening. It is not lengthening. Okay, QR interval shortening, and lacosamide is PR interval lengthening. See here, lacosamide is PR interval. I made mistake in recent Nimans. I just wrote. I told na 1 month back. So thank God, I got the seat, but still it would have been a big if I didn't get. Big mistake.
L for lacosamide, L for lengthening.
Yeah, that's what. PR interval lengthening. Okay, so it is a
Yes.
PR interval. What we usually make mistake is, whenever a cardiac problem comes now, we will think it is QT interval, but it is PR interval, and in that rufinamide it is QT interval shortening. Okay, so other things, so many things are important here, but I have just told which is maximum. So they will ask, glaucoma is caused by what? It is the same thing again, topiramate. Okay, so renal stones is by zonisamide. So these are the few important things which I have found, and which many questions was there. So coming to, I think uh, okay, so when do you discontinue the therapy? See, there is no proper guidelines or anything when to discontinue, when to continue, everything. So the if the seizures are controlled, and it is only single type of seizures, and neurological examination is normal, no family history of epilepsy, normal EEG, then you can think that okay, the recurrence will be very rare. So after 2 years, you can start taking a informed consent, and taking the responsibility has to be taken by the patient. Understand? You are not asking to taper and stop. Patient to choose that's taper and stop. Many of the patient, what I found is, usually what we feel is 50-50. So a few people might think they want to taper and stop, but few people who are very careful, na, they will tell, sir, I'm already okay, I'm just taking one tablet, I'll continue. So if they're continuing, fine, you don't have to pester them to stop. But if they want to stop, take a consent properly and stop if they are very well controlled after 2 years, getting MRI, EEG, neurologic examination, and everything is normal. You take the risk and stop them. One important advice what we will miss as the general physicians are, after stopping, you stop it very slowly over 6 months. Books give 3 months, but I usually stop over 6 months. Okay. Once you stop after 6 months, na, the stopping, the 1 year after stopping, the risk of recurrence will be very high. Hello. Uh, Once we stop after the 1 year after stopping, the risk of recurrence is very high. You have to tell them be careful, have good sleep. Okay. The precipitating factors you should be very careful, not to work at heights, not to drive for 1 year after stopping. So once they are fine after 1 year of the stopping, then they can become like normal, the risk will reduce. So coming to the refractory epilepsy, uh, what is the definition? This also I've made mistakes many times. It is two anti-seizure medication despite at fullest optimal dosing and appropriate drugs, then only it is refractory. Okay, for focal seizure, if you give to generalized seizure and tell it is not working, it is not correct. Okay, two appropriate optimal dosing, still if seizures are not controlled, still they are having disabling seizures, then it is called as refractory epilepsy. Understood? It is two, it is two, it is two, it is not three. We usually jump towards three. I have myself made this mistake. That's why I'm telling you repeatedly. It is two, 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 two. So coming to the surgical treatment of refractory epilepsy, 20 to 30% will have refractory epilepsy, for which they may require surgical treatment for seizure control. So briefly, I will not bore you with all these things. Maybe in 10 minutes the class will be finished. Don't worry. Okay. So surgical evaluation. So there are so many zones in surgical evaluation. So symptomatogenic zone, that means the clinically what you are seeing, patient is having some aura or some opercular facial involvement. So those are the symptomatogenic zone. So that means the seizure foci is formed somewhere and it is reaching there to show the symptoms. That is the symptomatogenic zone. Seizure onset zone is, it is in somewhere. Symptomatogenic zone can be, seizure onset zone can be in the symptomatogenic zone or it can be somewhere else. Okay, so epileptogenic zone is the amount of brain needed to be removed so that it will not cause any seizures. Okay, so here the catch is the minimal amount of the brain to be removed. See, if you remove the whole brain also, there won't be any seizures. Na? Does not mean you will remove the whole brain. It is the minimal amount of the the material, that is the brain, you can remove to stop the seizures. That is called as epileptogenic zone. So epileptogenic zone will contain the seizure onset zone, and if the seizure onset zone is removed but epileptogenic zone is not removed, there will be so many other epileptogenic areas, so that will become again uh, epileptogenic, means it will cause seizures. So epileptogenic zone has to be removed. So epileptogenic lesion means some lesion is there. Functional deficit zone means what the functional deficits they have. So how to evaluate for this? This is a basic. It is not everything is it not absolute. Epileptogenic lesion is by MRI. Ictal onset zone, we usually use video EEG, SPECT, intracranial recordings, MEG, that is MEG. Symptomatogenic zone is video EEG or clinical history. Functional deficit zone is by neuropsychological testing, functional MRI, SPECT MRI, like that. Irritative zone, the routine EEG, what you are seeing is what you catch the irritative zones. Irritative zone may contain epileptogenic zone, may contain ictal onset zone, or it may not contain also. Okay, so these are the basic thing. You don't have to remember everything, but they may ask this EEG for irritative zone, Functional deficit zone is for functional MRI and neuropsychological. Symptomatogenic zone is clinical history or video EG. Epileptogenic zone or lesion is by MRI. Ictal onset zone will be the different things. So most common procedure will be medial temporal lobe. So temporal lobectomy will be done, and AT, that is amygdalectomy also will be done. And so if there is any cortical lesions, we will do the lesionectomy. And subplial ligations can be done for atonic seizures. Corpus callosectomy can be done usually for atonic seizures. Hemispherectomy or multifocal multilobar resection can be done if the hemimegalencephaly or Rasmussen's or any dysplastic abnormalities are there. Okay. So usually corpus callosectomy will be done for mixed type of syndrome, that is Lennox-Gastaut syndrome, to reduce the disabling tonic or atonic seizures. So coming to the status epilepticus, it is repeatedly they will ask this question. See here, these are all I don't have to tell anything. Impending and early status epilepticus is 5 to 30 minutes. Established or early refractory from 30 to 48 hours, 30 minutes to 48 hours. Late refractory is more than 48 hours. These timings you should know. 5 to 30 minutes is early status epilepticus. Established or early refractory is 30 to 48 hours, 30 minutes to 48 hours. Late refractory is more than 48 hours. First, you will give benzodiazepine, that is lorazepam, 0.1 mg, midazolam means 0.2 mg, and then you will give valproate, that is levetiracetam or phenytoin, you will give. And then you will repeat again, one half dosing will be repeated. Then if still it is not getting control, one more will be added. Still if it is not getting control, we will give anesthesia. We have to give propranolol, ketamine, and midazolam infusion, like that we will give. Okay. So, see, most important here is if they are alcohol, now you have to give thiamine, sugar has to be checked, and sugar has to be replenished, like that. Those are the most important things. Airway to be secured, like that. And some of the important women and epilepsy they will keep on ask in the exams, that is carbazepine, phenytoin, phenobarbital, and topiramate. These are decrease the efficacy of oral contraceptives, so because by enzyme induction, hence they have to choose some other contraceptive method, that is carbazepine, phenytoin, phenobarbital, and topiramate. These four drugs you remember. So pregnancy in epilepsy, everybody knows this question they will be asking. 50% will not have any change in seizures, 30% will increase, 20% will decrease. 50% no change, increase in 30%, 20% will decrease. So anomalies, 5 to 6% will have some anomalies in the children. Here you can see 5 to 6%, 5 to 6%. And then valproic and topiramate will have the highest fetal anomalies, that is 7 to 20%. Polypharmacy will be most important, and the more higher the dose, higher the risk. Okay. So breastfeeding and epilepsy, this they will ask. Valproate will secrete 5% in breast milk. Levetiracetam is 30%. Once you see this, we'll think levetiracetam should not be given in lactating mother, but that is wrong. They have even though the baby will be drinking it, no problem will be there for the baby. They have done many studies on this. So for lactation also, levetiracetam can be used. But if valproate, if any person who is taking less than 800 mg of valproate, so Shichitra has done a lot of work on this. So they've cut off given was 800 mg. So if less than that, no need to change over or anything. If better, sometimes if you have to speak to them, if patient is willing, you can change over. If not, you can continue. If they've already after first trimester, there is no point in changing again and again. So these are the two. Many numbers are there in this chapter. You have to read whatever done by my best to try to explain whatever the concepts and numbers are there. Any questions if you people have, you can ask.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, okay. Don't remember this concept. Aura in epilepsy is a simple focal seizures. That's all. Okay. So no other things means can we stop?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
Change of anti-epileptic drugs in pregnancy, sir. Suppose, as you were saying, valproate,
Yeah.
anomalies will be more with valproate, but they will be under good control with this particular drug, valproate. So at that time, what we have to do? We have to
That's
change
what.
or
What is the see? Then what is the dose they are getting? If it is less than 800 mg, there is no need to change.
okay, sir.
Okay.
Right.
See, the
Right,
thing
sir.
is, the thing is, it is based on society mostly. See, you know, you have read, you have not changed because it is less. But if someone, they will go to OBG and that they will tell, hey, what is your doctor's, why they have not changed? This will cause problem to the baby and all. They will tell. Okay, so then they will come back and start scolding you. So you have to speak to them properly, note down their that because it is low dose valproate and it is well controlled and it is already a trimester is done, so better to continue. If patient comes before getting pregnant and tell I'm planning for pregnancy, then you change over within 3 months, put on Levipil and then wait for 3 months and they can continue. So whatever it is communication is most important and documenting there, because they will go to OBG, they'll go to someone else, some other physician, they will tell this fellow don't know anything. They have just put on valproate, baby will suffer now like that and all. They will tell and send. That is the reason why you have to speak to them properly. And see, this drug table is very important. Okay. Mm, so you have to read on your own because it is so many parts are there here. So carbamazepine very important. These drug levels, carbamazepine, valproate, phenytoin, phenobarbital very important. And in immense we'll be doing this. So I remember, but you people has to memorize. Okay, 4 to 12. Then valproate levels, very important. Side effects. Side effects is also very important. PR interval prolongation is lacosamide. Like last months I made a mistake in this, and thankfully it didn't cost me the seat. But however, it is a wrong thing. And rufinamide is QT interval shortening, and felbamate and topiramate will cause weight loss. Zonisamide and topiramate will cause renal stones. Zonisamide will cause hypohidrosis. Okay, so something like this you have to remember. Glaucoma is caused by topiramate. So all these things you have to read, you have to revise. Remember, you have to read, revise again and again. That is the most important thing than anything else. Harrison is more than enough. I know you people think reading so many. You may not be interested in neurology. I'm telling you generally. So any other things also, Harrison is more than enough. Read it 10, 20, 30, 40 times possible. I am telling you, okay, if I can get, you people also can get. Okay, I am not someone who was very smart or anything, not very intelligent or anything. You have to hard work. That too you cannot. There is no shortcut in that. So just read Harrison. Any specialty I'm telling you, you will only come and tell me that, sir, I got a seat. I followed this only. So Harrison, you read properly. See, the problem with you people is you people try to go for 100% of the marks. That's the mistake you people are doing. You are just one. You need only one seat, and you if you get 80 marks also, you will be first rank. So you are chasing behind 20% of the question that is given somewhere in the corner of the book or some other specialty books, and missing the 80% of the question. These are the mistakes you are costing you people a seat. Okay, so you read Harrison properly. You don't have to read anything else. I'm sure you will get seat of your desired college. So the one more thing is, you people are not you will not recall the question for fear of making wrong questions. Means you will come to know that question was wrong or some you have made some silly mistake. You will get afraid and you will not see the answers. That is the biggest mistake. You have to recall the question, and where you are making the mistake you have to come to know, and you have to change your approaches. Okay, so those things you have to change. If you read whatever is given in Harrison and some tables uh, in your specialty, that is more than enough. Whatever others say, I'm telling you, it is more than enough. You don't have to chase 20% or 30% of the question. Even if you don't get first rank, if you get second rank, that is more than enough. Okay, just read Harrison properly. Okay, any doubts? I think if no doubts, we can stop, I think.
Okay,
Sir,
Yeah, tell me.
sir, role of anti-epileptics in CVT, sir.
See, role in CVT, if there is seizures only, you should give. Okay, if there is no seizures, no need to give. But if there is lot of parenchymal lesions, even in Niemann, some of the units and consultants will give. Better to give like that. So I personally feel if there is no seizures, no need to give. Okay.
And the choice is levetiracetam. Is it right, sir?
No, not like that. See, if a patient is depends on if it is a woman, better to give Levipil. If it is elderly, better to avoid Levipil. Better to give Valproate. Okay. If it is children, better to avoid Levipil, because they will have behavioral abnormality. Elderly will have cognitive decline. So if the elderly, better to avoid Carbamazepine because they will have hyponatremia. So it is not a hard and fast rule that you have to give this or that. Phenytoin you can use. If they have cardiac abnormality, you cannot give phenytoin. So that time you can use Levipil. You have to no. If renal abnormality is there, Levipil will be difficult. So it's like that. So you have to take a call based on the patient, individual patient you have. But if it is a elderly, better to give Valproate.
Right, sir.
Sir,
Sir,
regarding,
Yeah, tell me.
sir, regarding stroke, sir, among embolism, thrombosis, and hemorrhage, epilepsy is more common in embolism, right, sir?
Yeah.
But prophylactic AEDs are usually given more commonly in hemorrhagic strokes, right, sir?
No. We will not give. See, hemorrhagic stroke is in basal ganglia, na. So no point in giving, na.
But for embolism also, should we give prophylactic or they are not indicated?
No. If seizure is there, you treat. Otherwise, why you want to give? All embolism will not cause seizures, na.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, don't give.
but sir, but hemorrhage at the cortical sites we have to give, right, sir? Prophylactically.
Yeah,
Suppose
CVT,
after
na.
trauma.
If it is CVT or if there is contusion in the brain, okay, then they will give for 3 months.
Okay, sir.
See,
Sir, can
CVT
you?
with hemorrhage in the brain. See, CVT means cerebral venous thrombosis. You are asking if there is any bleeding in the because of CVT. That time they will give for 3 months. Okay.
For CVE, what is the duration, sir? CVA.
CVT, CVA. See, if it is acute symptomatic, it is 3 months. If it is chronic, you have to continue for long time.
Sir, regarding neonatal seizures, can you throw some light, sir?
Which one?
Neonatal seizures.
See, neonatal seizures, they will usually have a subtle seizures. Okay, they will have some absence like seizures, some perioral automatisms like that. Will usually they will have some tonic epileptic spasms. So they will not have this proper adult like GTCS type. So the most common seizures will be subtle seizures only for neonatal. So that one table will be there in Bradley, I think, that which day which seizures. So usually that day 2 day 3 seizures will be this hypocalcemia and other metabolic seizures. So day 1 seizure will be very less, or sometimes intrauterine seizure they will ask this pyridoxine deficiencies and Otahara syndromes and all, na, they'll have this pediatric, means even in the this thing they can have seizures in the mother's womb. Mothers sometimes can tell that patient was having seizures, means like that they will be having. So otherwise, the most common question will be that most common type of seizures in neonates will be subtle type of seizures, which others may not be able to characterize because the muscles are not mature. Na, they will not be able to throw GTCS. GTCS cannot be there. Even I have made this mistake. Child coming presented with GTCS. That is not true because they don't have muscles only properly developed, and myelination and all will not be there. So they cannot throw GTCS. It will be some some subtle, some myoclonic jerk, some eye blinking, something like that they will be having. Otherwise, the neonatal seizures will have epileptic syndromes. Okay, epileptic encephalopathies. That depending on the age, whether it is neonatal or childhood onset, infantile, like that, there will be different epileptic syndromes in each age group. Usually, Ohtahara or severe myoclonic epilepsy or benign familial neonatal epilepsy seizures. Na that KCN Q3, KCN Q2, those are all genetic syndromes. Usually, they will present with other epileptic syndromes. Will be they'll have cognitive decline and they'll have some MRI changes, post hypoxia, post some genetic syndromic syndromes will have this epileptic encephalopathies. Usually the prognosis will be poor and they will have resistance epilepsies.
Okay,
Otherwise,
sir. Thank you, sir.
yeah, okay.
Sir, and for
Sir,
gliotic seizures, should we continue lifelong prophylaxis, sir?
Which
Until
one? Which one?
gliosis, gliotic seizures induced by gliosis of post infarction.
Yeah. You have to continue.
Okay, sir.
See, if they are asymptomatic for 5 or 6 years, like 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, you have to talk to the patient. If they want to try, we have to tell them better to continue. But if they want to take a chance, we can taper and stop and see once.
sir,
But
one
once
request,
you
sir.
have apps, you have to continue for lifelong. You have to write there. Okay.
Sir, one request, sir.
Yeah. Tell me.
Sir, basics about EEG, sir. Even if it is very brief, it is okay, sir. If
Okay.
possible, in next class.
Yeah, definitely. Like what you want basics about EEG means?
Just commonly some common syndromes and EEG
Okay,
findings.
fine. I can do that. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, no problem. Okay. That's all, na? So I think we can stop, I think. Any other doubts? I hope you learned something today, some new concept. Just remember that every day you have to learn one new things. That's all. That is, if you learn for lifelong, you will be very knowledgeable. Okay. So I think class we will finish. We can. Okay. Bye. All the best for everybody.